All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Jaron Ennis, Terence Crawford, Bozy Ennis, and Tim Bradley, and a bunch of messages being shot around between the camps. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the welterweight division for this discussion of Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford. Tim Bradley, who works on ESPN and is a friend of Terence Crawford, made a very bold prediction about the fight. And now Jaron Ennis's father and trainer Bozy Ennis has made a response. And the conversation that Bozy Ennis had with YSM Sports Media, definitely check out the YouTube channel. It does these interviews. Really great work. Was very, very enlightening. Now, before I get into the meat of the subject, though, please let me say thank you to everybody that continues to support the channel in the live streams and in the videos that we do every day. And also, if you are not subscribed, please accept my invitation to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos. And of course, right when I'm making a video, my phone goes off. So back to the video. Jaron Ennis is one of the top prospects at 147 pounds in the world. He's ranked inside of the top 5 of all major sanctioning bodies. The lowest that Jaron Ennis is ranked is number 4 by the WBC. And even in that sanctioning body, he was previously ranked number 3. He is about to fight Custio Clayton, I do believe, on the undercard of Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano in a IBF title eliminator to become Errol Spence Jr.'s mandatory challenger. So Jaron Ennis is somebody that is very, very hot in the sport of boxing. A lot of people think very, very highly of what the man can do in the ring and are waiting for him to get his first championship fight. So much so that pretty much anybody that is now asking questions about the welterweight division have Jaron Ennis's name on the tip of their tongue when asking sports commentators and other champions and contenders about fights in the 147-pound division. In this particular instance, Tim Bradley, who is a ESPN commentator and a friend and former sparring partner of Terence Crawford, and actually I should probably switch that and say that Terence Crawford is a former sparring partner of his when he was a 147-pound champion, was asked about Jaron Ennis and what he thought about a fight between Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis. And his response was something that I found really wild. And the reason I say it was wild because there's nothing that I can see that would justify what Tim Bradley had to say. Tim Bradley pretty much said that that's not a fight that he was interested in, not a fight that, and acted surprised that people actually wanted to see the fight, and said that he believed somebody was going to get knocked out in that fight, and the person who was going to get knocked out was not going to be Terence Crawford. So implying that Terence Crawford would knock out Jaron Ennis. Well, YSM definitely, again, I'm going to tell you because I talk a lot about some of the videos that they do, especially when they do them on Jaron Ennis. Definitely subscribe to that channel. Follow that channel. They interviewed or were in the gym with Bozy Ennis, who is the trainer and the father of Bozy Ennis, and got his impression of the interview that Tim Bradley had. And Bozy Ennis, not to be surprised, did not take it, was not very fond of what was said. And his response was this, in essence, his response was this, that Tim Bradley probably made that comment because Tim Bradley is friends with Terence Crawford, and there's nothing that Tim Bradley has seen that would tell Tim Bradley that Jaron Ennis was going to get knocked out by Terence Crawford. Now, specifically what he said was that in response to Tim Bradley saying that Jaron Ennis gets hit a lot, He was like, where have you seen Jaron Ennis hit a lot in any of the fights? I mean, he's been hit, but a lot of times he just rolls with the punches and he took whatever shot he had and he came right back. You've not seen Jaron Ennis being hit a lot. And that's pretty much the truth. When people talk and criticize Jaron Ennis about him taking shots, it's almost like they pull these type of things. I don't know where they get it from because I've not seen that, right? I've watched a whole lot of Jaron Ennis, and I've never seen Jaron Ennis in a position where he was taking punches. Like every boxing match, though, I've definitely seen him get hit. But like his father says, most times that the guy makes contact, he does pretty much the same thing where you look at Canelo Alvarez and you think Canelo Alvarez has been hit cleanly. If the punch is coming from here, he'll roll with the punch or he'll take the power away from the punch, right? Just have never seen that in him. However, Bozy Ennis was like, who is Tim Bradley to be talking, right? Because he's like, if you look at Tim Bradley's fights, what does he do in his fights besides take a bunch of shots? Obviously referring to the fight that Tim Bradley had with Manny Pacquiao, fights he had with Devin Alexander, and definitely the fight that he's talking about with Ruslan Provodnikov at 140 pounds, where Tim Bradley, like Bozy Ennis said, got sent to the hospital for taking so many shots, right? So he has kind of lashed out a little bit at, not a little bit, a good bit, with Tim Bradley. He was like, look, man, I respect him. I respect Terence Crawford and all that. But you must have taken too many shots to think that, that this is some unfair fight between Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford, because that's nothing that anybody has seen in a ring that would tell you that. Now, the guy from YSM actually asked a really, really good question, and it's something that I agree with 100%. And he said, in response to people saying about Jaron, like, who have you fought? What have you done? This and that you shouldn't. And he's asking Bozy Ennis this, don't you think that you should, like, styles make fights and look at what the fighters do in the ring and say, hey, man, this guy is this tall. This guy's reach is this long. He does this when he's he has success with this style. He has trouble with that style. And then look at it from that point of view and not necessarily just read off BoxRec who is the guy fought before you can actually see a guy that may cause problems. And brought up the point, like, if you had looked at Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay at the time he fought, and said, okay, who is Cassius Clay beaten to tell you that he is going to beat Sonny Liston? Well, the answer to that question, when I heard him say that, I was like, well, Archie Moore. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Archie Moore, but other than Archie Moore, and I do also believe, not Bob Foster, but the guy from the British guy, who wound up knocking him down and he got up. I always forget his name, man. Henry Cooper is his name. No, he hadn't beaten anybody that would have told you that he was going to do Sonny Liston like that. And same thing happens with Andy Ruiz and Joshua. Andy Ruiz didn't beat anybody that would have told you that he would do that to Anthony Joshua. And the list goes on and on. You just have to see the fight take place. But most importantly for me, it's, Tim Bradley says he doesn't want to see that fight. Look, man, how many more of the top welterweights that are out there? Jaron Ennis is definitely out there and has done everything that he can do as a fighter to put himself in a position for those fights. What else can he do, right? Besides being in the top 3 or the number 1 or the number 2 or the mandatory and getting into that top level, as far as, being in the sanctioning bodies and being positioned to get to the fight. All of this, subjective, what has he done? And I don't like his resume and all this. That stuff is just way too easy to throw out there, as it is way too easy just to throw out there that you don't want to see the fight with Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis because Terence Crawford is going to knock him out and it's not a competitive fight. If Terence Crawford is going to knock out Jaron Ennis, then you might as well just say that about Terence. You might as well say that about any other person that Jermell Charlo is. You might as well just say that about Jermell Charlo, because I think that Terence Crawford doesn't have any better chance of knocking out Jermell Charlo than he does Terence Crawford. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.